There's one piece of advice that I think all artists low-key hate receiving.
Consistency wins.
Consistency.
Be consistent.
Consistency is everything.
Consistency.
Now I know for a fact I am not the only one that cringes a little bit and simultaneously wants to run the other way after watching those clips. So in this video, I want to look at why that advice rubs us the wrong way. And then from that understanding, I want to look at how to actually implement consistency in a way that's trackable, tangible, and works better with the creative mind. Because like it or not, consistency actually works, and it is the thing standing in the way of you and where you want to be. In order for us to implement consistency, we have to understand what it actually is. So let's pick this apart for a sec before we talk solutions. Consistency at its core is what I like to call calculated intention. Calculated intention is the act of setting a checkpoint that you're aiming for on the way to and in assistance of your bigger goal. Ah, yes, of course, the first hurdle for us creative people on our road to consistency, a bunch of left brain ass language. Stick with me for a second though, here's what that looks like. If I'm an artist and I have a big goal of build a fan base, I have to break that big goal down into smaller stepping stones on my way, because build a fan base is way too broad. Oh look, a second hurdle on our way to consistency, being specific with goal setting. So calculated intention would look like reach 10K streams in 6 months or sell 10K of merch in 6 months. Something specific, trackable, and tangible, a checkpoint that we can hit on the way to our bigger goal that shows us that people are engaging with the music and therefore we have a chance to be building fans. We just need a tangible goal to hit so that we know if we pass or fail. Ah, there it is. The third and biggest hurdle yet. The potential of failure. Yeah, we might have found it. If there's any one reason that we as artists are often not consistent, it's that creativity in its essence is built so that it is very hard to run into the monster at the end of the tunnel that is failure. There's just always an escape route. Abandon the project, move on to something new, tell yourself the art is subjective, tell yourself you'll do better next time. Consistency doesn't have those escape routes built in. It's pass or fail. And this is why consistency is so hard for us, because at every single step along the way, as you've seen, we're running into hurdles. Hurdles that work differently than we're used to working as artists. But what if I told you you could get rid of the biggest hurdle, the potential of failure, and actually implement consistency? What if I told you that consistency doesn't actually have to be pass or fail? That might change everything, right? Here's how to do exactly that. First, let's start here. If calculated intention is what we need numbers to calculate our intention, right? A pass or fail, a 1 or a 0 is not actually that helpful at telling us where we did well and where we need to improve. So let's do this. Let's use that example we set up earlier of building a fan base, and let's look at consistency as a percentage instead of a pass or fail. If our big broad goal is build a fan base, and our specific goal we're going to use to do that, our calculated intention, our checkpoint we're aiming for, then might be post every day for 2 weeks promoting our music. If you post only 8 pieces of content during that 2 weeks, you're still being 57% consistent. And that's not nothing. You still posted 8 more pieces of content than you would have if you hadn't set that intention in the first place. And that's huge, because for so many of us, just getting ourselves to do anything is like 3/4 of the battle. And if something consistently is better than nothing, which it is, then this really works. This changes everything, right? And it's not because there's no more hurdles, but the hurdles of being specific in our goal setting and left brain language are hardly hurdles compared to the looming threat of potential failure. And the best part about this is as you rewire your brain to not look at consistency as pass or fail, but actually look at it as a percentage, this just gets easier. You start to condition yourself out of judging yourself on this pass or fail basis and start to look at what you're doing as data and where you can improve in that data. And that's the answer you came here for. The key to actually being consistent is to start looking at your goals as data instead of taking them personal. And that's it. When we start to do that, the rest is a really basic level of self-discipline for the most part. Now, if you're anything like me, you may be sitting there asking yourself, but what about when the basic self-discipline doesn't feel like enough? And that is the hurdle. Most of the time, if you're having a hard time doing anything at all, like even taking step one of like planning a goal, it's because you're lacking a greater purpose in your career. See, something like build a fan base isn't a purpose. It's a goal. It's a good goal. It's a broad goal, but it's a goal. The purpose needs to be something that drives you to hit that goal. It's the big overarching thing that outlines everything you do in a day. The bigger thing that keeps you moving towards your goals, even when there's massive amounts of resistance. But purpose is a whole other conversation. Let me know if that would be a helpful conversation down in the comments. I'm happy to make a video on it and we can chat about it more, but that's not for right this second. So let's wrap this up. Consistency is hard for artists because at every turn there's a hurdle, but there's no hurdle bigger than the potential of failure. So in order to actually implement consistency, we need to stop making our goals personal and start looking at them as data. Make smaller goals on the way to your bigger ones and start looking at the percentage of consistency you hit rather than making it pass or fail. I hope this is as helpful to you as it is to me, because this changed everything for me. This made it so I could start actually being consistent all the time. Consistency, unfortunately, really does change everything. I'm excited for you to get to experience that the same way I have. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.